I don't really know if this is a surprise, as to the way this match against, Tottenham versus Manchester City wins, because we've seen Tottenham win against Manchester City, but I think today's game was a bit different, mainly because of how Manchester City played. There was a bit of sluggishness to how they played. It didn't look like the players, were putting in a lot of efforts. And we saw this last season, getting to the end of last season, we saw Manchester City players not really putting in as much effort as they did, especially in that treble winning season. It was a very lackluster, sluggish performance from Manchester City. But take nothing away from Tottenham Hotspur's performance. I mean, props to Thomas Frank. He has done an absolutely brilliant job with this Spurs team so far. I mean, 2 games into the season, it's still, very early days, but he has done a good job with this Spurs team, because looking at this Spurs team last season, I mean, Ange Postecoglou was good, but the efforts, the hard work that these Spurs players are putting into this game, I mean, they made Tijani Reinders look average today. That's how good Spurs were. They made Tijani Reinders look average, and he looked spectacular on the starting game of the season for Manchester City. But the pressing, the hard work, and the energy that Thomas Frank's Spurs put into this game, they made players like Tijani Reinders look absolutely horrible. I mean, I felt sorry for Omar Marmoush for Manchester City, because he looked like the only player in that City side that was putting in a good effort. Like, he's a very versatile player who can play, on the wing, at strike, and even the center attacking mid sometimes. And he looked like the only player that was gonna be able to get something for Manchester City. So to see him get subbed off and keep Haaland on the field was a little bit confusing for me. But yeah, I don't even think Marmoush on a good day would have saved Manchester City today. It was a bad performance from Manchester City. But again, taking nothing away from the performance Spurs put in today, I'm really impressed with Thomas Frank. And it does back up my predictions in the previous video I made on my dark horse predictions for this season, where I said Spurs might be able to win a trophy. The way Thomas Frank sets up his teams, you can see there is a principle of hard work, keeping the defense solid. The defense was solid today. Van der Ven, really good. Romero did his job as well. And, even Jet Spence, I wasn't expecting Jet Spence to play as well as he did. And he played really well. And you could see that is part of Thomas Frank's philosophy. And it made Brentford difficult to play against last season and, subsequent seasons as well when he was their manager. So I really do think, looking at Spurs' next 6 Premier League fixtures, Bournemouth, West Ham, Brighton, Wolves, Leeds, Aston, these are teams that I think Spurs could get results from. And if they could get, what is that? That's if they can get 18 points, if they can get 15 points from the next 6 games that they have, it's gonna be a good season for Spurs. And these are winnable games. Like, this game against Manchester City would probably be the one you'd be like, okay, they drop a few points here, and to get 3 points in this game, and their upcoming games being as winnable as they are, if they can get 15 out of 8, if they could get 12 out of 18, it would be really good. To get 15 would be superb. To win all those 6 games coming up, we could be seeing Spurs, top of the table by Christmas. But yeah, not taking anything away from Spurs, I do want to talk about Manchester City. There has been, a lack of effort, if I think that's the word I'm looking for, a lack of effort from the Manchester City over the past few seasons, especially last season. And it looks like it has been seeping into this season. It has seeped into this season, where we've seen, they've come up against a really good team. Wolverhampton Wanderers, they've lost their best player in Matheus Cunha. I don't know what anyone was expecting, that they were going to take that performance, against Wolverhampton and be like, Manchester City is back. It's Wolverhampton. Even with Matheus Cunha last season, they weren't as effective, as they would be without Matheus Cunha this season. So I think that game against Wolves was just a red herring. I think, we're now going to see Manchester City. I think they have United coming up. I think that game is going to be a little bit. It's going to be something for Manchester City. If they lose that game against United, I think Pep is going to be very, very. He's going to be under trouble a lot because they'll need to win that game against United. But again, Spurs played really well. Really impressed with Kudus. Kudus is just a premium African player. I tell you that he is a premium level African player. Like he get his ball control really good. His dribbling is really good. I'm shocked we didn't see Matthias Tell come into this game. I think he might be injured or he might be carrying an injury. But although Brennan Johnson scored a good goal, I would have loved to see a Matthias Tell coming in his position and playing well. I'm trying to think of other players that played well. I think Van der Ven did well. Jet Spence is what I mean. Coming in for a player of the quality of Udogi, it's really difficult to replace a player like him. So to come in and play that well, I think Jet Spence did really good. I'm trying to think. I think the defense in general for Spurs was really good. It was a really solid defense. And, I think it's something that if Thomas Frank can improve on, because the problem Spurs are going to have is injuries. That's what affected Spurs last season. If Van der Ven gets injured again, I don't know if Danso is going to be good enough to replace him. He is good, but I don't know if he's going to be good enough to replace Van der Ven and Romero as well. So if they can, retain these players in the sense that they don't get injuries, I think, Spurs could potentially, do something this season. And as I said in my predictions, I think Spurs could be able to win a trophy because that defense, if Thomas Frank's system, you need to be good defensively. You need to have the energy defensively to keep up. So yeah, I think if they can prevent the injuries to players, I mean, if they lose a player like Kudus, they probably would be in a bad situation. I think maybe a few signings. I think one or two signings wouldn't be bad for Spurs. I think an attack in mid, missing out on Eze probably was a blow to Spurs, but there are other options in the market. I think they could go in for to bolster their attack line. Because I mean, losing a player like Kudus, who can also play in that attacking role, mind you, would also be a little bit of an issue. I think maybe two more signings for Spurs, and I think they would be ready for the season. Back again to Manchester City. I don't know where their issues start and end because Trafford doesn't look, he doesn't look as confident in goal as you'd probably be expecting, because you'd be thinking, he's coming in for Ederson, benching Ederson. You'd be thinking, oh, this guy is good. And to see him make the mistakes he made and, cause the goals that he caused, it's kind of weird. The foul on Trafford, the foul on Kudus from Trafford. I mean, I don't know what's going on in the Premier League with VAR and all of that stuff, but yeah, you would think, they get a foul for that because he goes at Kudus. He puts his knees on Kudus' chest, and I mean, that's a foul. That's a foul regardless of, the player or the position. But yeah, the Premier League they don't even talk about it. I don't even think we see any replays for that attempt on Kudus from Trafford. But yeah, looking at Manchester City, I really don't know where to start in terms of their problems or their crisis, as some might say. I mean, I don't even, when a team plays and you don't really have a particular player to blame, like you can't be like, oh, this was this player's fault, or this was that player's fault. It feels like the whole team, bar an Omar Marmoush, which I think for me was their best player this game, bar Marmoush in this game, I think the whole team just played horribly. It was a bad performance from everyone today in Manchester City. So I don't know. I don't know where they bounce back, who they're gonna make changes for. Because I mean, Oscar Bob was mediocre. You can't really blame him. He's a kid. Tijani Reinders, I think he's gonna be a good player, but the hype around him from that Wolves game was I mean, it was crazy. I started seeing a whole lot of comparisons I'm not gonna mention, but it was absolutely crazy, the hype that Reinders had in the first game of the season against Wolverhampton Wanderers. I mean, Wolverhampton Wanderers last season were atrocious. I don't know what people were expecting to see in that match against Manchester City. So again, don't know where their problems start, don't know where their problems are gonna get fixed, and I don't know who is gonna fix the problems. I don't think it's a Rodri issue at this point. I don't think Rodri is that important of a player. I mean, he's a big player. I mean, a Ballon d'Or winner is nothing to scoff at. He is a big player for Manchester City, but I don't even think if he was a fully fit Rodri in this game, I don't think he makes an impact. It feels like the entire team is just sluggish and lacks a little bit of effort in today's game. So yeah, that's my match preview or match reaction to the Manchester City Spurs game. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. As usual, any feedback from you guys would be greatly appreciated, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.